make sure it gets up. Yes, Cameron. Yeah, I know. I just want to make sure. If anybody's watching live, if they could just give me a thumbs up or text me, let me know if you guys can hear this. I don't see anybody logged in yet. Huh? Yeah, yeah. Yep, I got a thumbs up. Yep. Did you hear me? Hey, Misty.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going.
I was just making sure the NU signs were up so no one interrupted.
Oh, that's okay. Wave to everybody. Say hi. We're live. Thank you, Misty.
Yes.
All right. Good deal. I am going to mute it until everybody comes in.
I brought mine.
You're now muted.
These guys want to go.
Get past it.
I guess.
All good, all good.
Sure, I got my right stuff here. Buddy Nick Mogley was already asking me to bargain, and there's not even an election. I said, Nick, we'll talk once the election's done.
It's good to be optimistic.
Well, what's real funny, Pete, is that this guy used to be the lawyer for the union that the TVA is now having an election trying to displace.
Yeah, we'll go, we'll be fine.
Very nice.
Yeah, he's a former NYPD officer.
So you
Turn lawyer.
he was a PI lawyer for a while.
Was
He kind of has a Mike Cousin to anything going,
All right.
but now he does labor law.
I like that.
That's your tall.
He's a real nice guy, but
He
you
gets tall.
can tell immediately he's from New York.
Pocket chapter ends.
That's such a great movie.
It is. It is indeed.
What's today, the 16th?
17. Make sure all that stuff's on.
We're ready whenever you guys are.
Are you?
We're live, yeah, we're good.
Make sure the director has.
Yes, and
Action.
action.
Gotta get you one of those things.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, we provided you guys with notice that we're changing the schedule effective in January of next year. The schedule is going to be, as you know, 11 and a quarter hour days as opposed to 12-hour days. Our initial thought is to do 10 days of 10 hours of training, and that would occur January through October. The idea is people's holiday schedules don't get interrupted that way, and it ends up being an extra 100 hours of overtime. Obviously, it's 10 by 10 to hopefully make up any difference in overtime based on the new schedule change. From our perspective, the schedule change is going to happen in January, but at least as it relates to how the training occurs and all that, we're certainly open to ideas if you guys think there's a better way to do it. But you all asked to impact bargain, so with that, I'll open the floor to you.
So, yeah, we have a few items we want to address. Number one, just so it's clear, so people have an idea, what's the rationale for changing what's worked, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Sure, I'll start, and the major will chime in if I leave anything out, which I probably will. There is very little training going on currently compared to how much training there will be with this schedule change. And that
If you know like numbers, can you throw those out too, just so we didn't know what like the total
Was it-
number of hours?
Yeah, so we're averaging 28 hours, and we obviously under this proposal, we're looking to be around 100 hours. I think we're open with some flexibility on that. We're trying to be understanding, get some feedback, but the reality is that the sheriff's initiative is that he doesn't feel like, and obviously he's been one of us for 28 years, he doesn't feel like we get enough training. I think we all, when you go to training weeks, and we've had to call them off because of, budget issues and different things, conflicting schedules, like we've got to get these things built in. This is non-negotiable. Like we've got to, in the sense of like, we have to train our guys appropriately. That's the sheriff's big push coming in. We got to get it done. This is the way to kind of get that done, at least on the road patrol side. So there's no doubt we don't have to talk about every year, all right, how much can we afford in this and that, and section it out. We know for a fact we'll get, at least 100 hours of training, and then kind of going from there. I don't know if I missed anything of that, but
Yeah, just to add on to that, not only are we looking to obviously get more training, but other side of this too is to ensure that we're getting as much overtime to keep it consistent with the shifts as it is now. So this schedule does both those things, right? It's going to increase training and it's going to keep overtime almost to what it is right now. It's about 6.5 hours short, give or take, depending on exactly where we land. But those are the two main points. Sheriff want to ensure we get more training, and the overtime remains pretty consistent.
So is there some type of I don't know the work you use, but what are you using to justify like they need a certain amount of hours, or like where's it coming from? Is there something like we have to just maintain a certain amount of hours through FDLE, or it just the sheriff wants everyone to have X amount of hours per year?
Well, and that's a good question. I think, FDLE does their best. But if you went by minimum FDLE standards, they are very, very low. You only have to qualify once every 2 years. We don't believe in that. We qualify twice every year.
You're talking about like firearms. right?
Firearms. And some of these things will be, obviously your qualifications will be rolled in there. All your mandatories that we're doing, instead of us trying to squeeze in a CPR block or doing it on that, kind of goofy program where you got to do it online, while you're working your shift in a zone, whatever you're doing. No, we want you to actually sit down and actually go through it. And the thought process, at least in my mind, is I would love to do that as much as possible. I think realistically we can only do what we can afford. And so this is, every month and then we give some time off for the holidays to be respectful of that. But we're also open to switching that. So I don't know if I missed anything on that.
Okay. And so as it is now, correct me if I'm wrong, the training is built into the current schedules. Is that accurate?
It depends. So we're
only talking about road patrol. We're not talking
Yeah.
about road patrol.
It's shifted from year to year. We have been trying to send people while they're on a shift. The problem is, at least recently, is manpower, is just shortages. So what do we do in that scenario? Well, we try to get them to go on their day off and pay them overtime to go. And does that work out every time? How much does that cost? Who's out there? And this actually gives us a plan going forward of really building it in, kind of changing the culture of the agency in that sense of like, training something we're going to do, and we're going to do a lot of.
Okay. And what's the current process for, and they might know the answer to this, I don't, so that's why I'm kind of seeing some of the self-serving questions for me. I'm your audience, but how is it determined, like, how you get the training now? Like, if you sign up for it, is there a list, or like, how does that work? And then how do you perceive it working with this new way of doing it? Like, the seniority based, like, how are we gonna say you're gonna be first up for training?
Well, one of the better things about this program overall is you're going to train with your shift. Because there's a different conversation to have that's outside of road patrol, but let's stay within that four corners, let's say. One of the things that we've always kind of had as a dream, or different times, we're not the first to think of it, is why can't you go train with your squad you're going to be working the street with? Train with the guys and girls that you actually work zones with. And that is the way to accomplish this, is to actually schedule out training days where that shift goes together. So when we're talking about vehicle pursuits, your lieutenant, your sergeants, the corporal, everybody's there. Okay, yeah, this is how 100 shift, we had this vehicle pursuit, we can debrief it, we can talk about it. It's all laid out in there. And as opposed to how we've been doing it in the past, and it has adjusted, so it's been different at different times, but okay, hey, we're going to send 2 people to training every week on their 3 days that they're working. So those 2 are out for training, and they're going to train with a mix of CID, courthouse, SROs, whoever's in that training block, which is not bad. It gives people some experience, and there's some value to that in the sense of getting out and seeing other people and build those relationships. But they're not going to be working the street with those people. They're not going to be answering calls. If we're talking about responding to domestics, respond to that scenario of the domestic with the people you can respond to the domestic with. Like, that is a huge benefit. And how do you adjust for people over time and changing? It's like, well, if you did that every month.
So I don't disagree with you, right? So I see the benefits in that. But as far as like, I'm going to train with my unit, which unit is prioritized over which unit when it comes to the training? And am I thinking about this wrong?
Yeah. I think there's a misconception.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that you're wrong.
It's like, hey, unit, we're going to do training on this day. It's not like there's this class you'll have to attend.
Right.
It's not that type of thing.
No, these are your training days you're on 100 shift. These are your training days for the year.
So you're going to know them.
Well in advance.
And how far in advance?
the whole year?
Yeah, as far as we can get them. So I know we're working on that schedule now. Training is working on that diligently.
Because that's something I can tell you from the side of the table that we would want that. Because I'll be upfront with you. We view this, I know this is like a scheduling issue, but we view this as like a wages thing. That's why we want to impact bargaining. We think it's beyond just impact bargaining and scheduling. This has a direct impact on their wages because it's built into their shifts, right? The overtime, their wages, they're dependent on that. That's how we were negotiating this. We know that that's our schedules. I mean, that's why, we appreciated your candor during bargaining. I mean, let's be honest, we asked you that for a reason.
Right.
So we just wanted to be out there and open. We believe in transparency, full disclosure, so that this wasn't anyone was taken aback by or taken by surprise. It's one of those things where, as of right now, the current schedule, they have the 130 hours built into their shift work, right? So they know they're getting that.
It depends on what shift you're working and how your year's laid out, to be fair.
Okay,
So if you're gonna talk about like exact hour for hour, there is variance in that.
maybe, okay, and I'll give you
4 or
that.
5 hours.
Right, but at the end of the day, it's built into their schedule, whereas now, if I'm reading this correctly, there's separate training days, right?
There are
So
Yeah,
you
there's
gotta come
separate
in on your day off.
training days that we would say are part of the schedule. If that makes sense.
Yes and no, because it's a day off, but you have to schedule for it now because you have to do training on the day.
But we would tell you in
I think it
advance,
depends
yeah.
what lens you're looking at it through, because your total hours worked still goes down even with this built-in training. I think it was 26 hours less, if I'm not mistaken, even with the 100-hour path. And again, that is up for discussion, if we want to move, and someone proposed 12/8, which brings us to 96 hours, you know what I mean? And that's another 4 hours less, so I think it just depends, but at the end of the day, even with this model that we're discussing now, we're still working 26 hours less.
And you mentioned staffing issues currently, right? So how is
26 in a year, I'm sorry,
Sure.
26 in a year.
In the
correct?
year,
Right, but we're
yeah.
working 4 11.25-hour days now.
Yep, when you look at total hours with training and everything, at the end of the year, you're working 26 hours less.
Right.
Two
You're still
shifts.
working 11.25, 4 days a week, and then 1 day of that month, on your day off, you have to come in and work another 10 hours to get the overtime, correct?
To get the overtime.
How do you propose making someone come in on their day?
It's not really a day off, it's scheduled training.
It's beyond the 4 days.
Well, the contract gives the sheriffs the discretion to order overtime. I guess that's a contractual answer to your question, but again, it's part of the schedule that we plan to implement.
Well, it's not here.
Sorry?
It's not here. You're not implementing the schedule, you're implementing force.
Well,
I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is you're asking us to bite off on this, which is fine. It's your schedule, but you're not proposing the schedule. You're not telling us how it's gonna work out. You're not telling my member how he's gotta come in and work, or has to come in on their day off. And then what about my members that take 5 weeks off on their vacation during the summer? How are they gonna make up that time? I mean, I don't think we've looked at every angle of this.
just to make sure we're clear, that schedule you just held up, that's what we provided for the actual shifts. And what we came in here and told you from the beginning was, this is going to be the shift schedule. However, we'd like your input on the training, and that's what I'm talking about now. That's why you don't have a sheet that lays out all the training.
How is that training gonna fold into this? So now it's not 4 days, it's 5 days.
Well, it's been 1 day a month since the beginning, and when we met with you the first time, you got this, you got this,
Understand that, but
and you got this. You got every single thing that we've been discussing. There's been nothing that you haven't had that we've been
Again, I'm not
discussing.
saying that, but what I'm saying though is that at this moment, this schedule does not have how that day is going to work in. Are we gonna work in on our Saturdays, or are we gonna work in on Fridays when they fall that way? I mean, are we gonna work on the side of the Monday? I'm just trying to go through the nuance, because that's what
These are
our
questions,
people
these are
are.
questions.
Yeah, so
They're
let
hitting us
me
as-
hit
as
you with
hard as
a
possible
question.
then.
Would it help you to, on this schedule right here, lay out the 10/10s or whatever the scenario is?
I think it has to.
Yeah, okay, so that would help you out.
Yes, because I mean,
Okay.
It helps you out
That's one of the,
because we're getting a lot.
That's
That's
a
questions
one
we're getting.
positive thing.
That's
Because-
that's
because
easy.
the
Yeah,
way-
it's easy.
the way JKX is sitting is that's the shift. Well, the
Right.
shift is 4 on, 4 off.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Throwing the extra day in there's not the shift. That's
Right.
throwing the extra day in there.
Kenny,
That's
just to clarify for you guys, and you guys are gonna get way, it's too much into the weeds, but I'm gonna simplify it as much as I can. If you look at the 4 on, 4 off schedule, 1 week, you work 45 hours, which gives you 2 hours of built-in overtime.
Yeah.
On your short week, you work 33.75 hours. You're still not hitting the 37 hours. Those are the weeks, if you wanna just simplify it, those are the weeks which are potentially called short weeks where the training would be scheduled. Now, I have worked in the training unit, and that would be the purpose of scheduling on the short weeks. That would help you in the pay period, come in and make sure you make up the 37 and a half hours plus the hours of overtime that are gonna be built in, that over the year are gonna accumulate to 100 hours. So that the
That's
guys and the
separate
girls,
pay
the guys and the girls can get their 100 hours. No, they would fall. The simplest way for you to look at it,
Okay.
is on a short week. If you look at the schedule, 33.75 hours. Normally, we would schedule a training day for road guys. Everybody else that's not on the schedule, there's gonna be alternate days that are scheduled so that they can come in, especially units can come in, they have a little bit more flexibility. You're not tied to a schedule where you can't stay out long.
With that,
So
it's
that-
never been a problem.
Right.
But the.
If you do that, that's where you're making up, because if you look, right now, you're short 3.25 hours on every short week, which we're not making anybody pay back or send back or give back. If you were to not have a training week, a training day on that short week, you're not gonna owe the sheriff's office anything. We're just saying we're using that time where you don't make up the 37 hours to build those training days into.
Okay, so
It's-
if I don't owe you time, does that mean that if I work overtime on one of
The
those
first,
4
the
days?
first 3.75 hours are straight time, and beyond that,
3.25.
3.25,
Yeah.
correct, are straight time, and then anything beyond that, which is no different than what they do now, which is when they're on their short week now,
An hour.
they owe an hour.
Well, and I agree with that, but what I'm saying is that if we're making that up as our training day, does that mean that
The first,
that first 3
the
hours?
first
is still remaining?
3.75 hours, yes, and we've
Right.
done that math, and even with that, that's why it's 10 hours, so that you can still hit your 100 hours throughout the year within 10 months as opposed to 12 months. You
I
get what I'm
think, I
saying?
think your question is, and I think it was a little misconception on some of it was the built-in training adds back about 67 and a half hours out of the 100 to be overtime.
Right.
Is that like as
Yes,
clear
so
as I can
if I
stand
do,
it?
so like if we have it, if we're I'm assuming it's gonna be by month, so
Right.
we're gonna build those two. So if I work or member works that week and they only do the 37, I owe you 3.25, but I'm gonna make it up with those 10 hours. Does that week start day 1, my overtime start at that moment? Does that make sense?
If it's a
Because I'm not
long
gonna owe
week,
you
it
the
does.
time then.
If it's a long week, let's say if it happens that
Long weeks are easy.
Yeah, it does.
Long weeks are easy.
If you were to pick up a shift on your short week and you have a training day that week, yes, it would start almost immediately.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying, so, but we're taking 2 weeks, 2 short weeks to make 10 hours, correct?
One.
I think if you're just looking at a short
Yeah.
week basis, I think the easiest way to look at it is you got to at least hit 37 hours, right? Before you start getting time and a half per contract.
Yes.
I agree with you. If we put out the 10 days, just so you know what it looks like, it'll make a whole
It'll
lot
be
more
easier to
sense.
look at. Yeah, we'll just put
We
the
can
10
add
days.
this
People
to
can
that.
see it then.
People
Yeah,
can
it's
see
fine.
it,
But
they'll
will
know
that
they'll be able to
training
plan.
Will that training be on the first day off, second day off, third day off?
It depends, but I will tell you this, operationally speaking, what I would like to see from our training unit and working with our training unit would be that if you work days, it doesn't really affect your sleep pattern, correct? You just you can come in on your day off. Normally, we try to pick one in the middle so that if you had one day off, you come in and you still had 2 more days off after that. If you're a midnight shift guy, we would try to do the same, so you're not like getting off, and now you don't get to sleep. We let you have your whole day off kind of in the middle. We're taking even that into consideration as far
So
as,
not, the hours aren't gonna be consistent, so if a midnight gets, they're not gonna train in the evening, they're training in the day, so they're gonna switch their schedule.
all that stuff that you're talking about is flexible, because that kind of depends on our
They're
training.
incorrect. They're
No,
incorrect,
right,
so
they're-
that's why we have
they're
to do specific
considerations.
days. So
But he-
someone could plan out, we have to plan out
Correct.
vacations a year in advance.
Right.
I would need
We
to
can
know.
plan that
is it
out in
gonna be my
advance.
first
And we're
day?
open to do the training day at like a evening
Noon
type
or
shift. It
1,
could be a
2,
midday
that's easy.
start to help those people that need to get a couple hours of sleep and not just expect them to hold
Yeah,
over
I
and
think-
go straight to training.
I think all our training corporals
Very
have already
much
thought
so.
of that and are pretty in tune to with what our guys and girls on the road are expecting at least, as far as time wise, with our midnight guys. We're all midnight guys. We don't like getting up and standing up and being zombies.
Not me.
We need midnight training anyway, so.
So you gotta do nighttime calls and everything
Yeah.
else. So.
You mentioned staffing issues, current staffing issues. How is this going to improve the staffing issues?
Well, it really, at this point, we're more thinking about the quality of the deputies that we have currently versus talking about, and phenomenal job for him is you're looking at, I think, 28 in January being in the academy and being in the pipeline, like hired, sworn in, 28 deputies.
Those
Law
ones from the
enforcement.
academy.
Can we get some RFDOs and
Yeah.
some training?
We are working on that as well,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, because and they're not all gonna come out at once, to be fair.
March would be a good month for you, Drew.
March is gonna be very busy, but, so to answer your question, if our shifts were full today, we would have so many people on the road, you'd have, depending on if you kept the corporals on or off shifts, that sort of thing, I mean, you're talking 8 to 9 a side at least. If your shift was full, you'd have 9 per side and a sergeant. That's more than every zone plus 2. You know, so you're running floats, double floats. And we've done that before, like once or twice in the time we've had 12s. But it's rare. You know, we haven't been in that position. And on top of that, one of the other things that we have to consider is we have folks that are still waiting to go special units. And even though we're going to get a big influx early next year, you know, it's 3 months of FTO after that. You know, these are long-term investments. The manpower issue is not going to be fixed in this schedule. It's not going to be fixed on 12s. What the fix is to hire bodies. And they've done a great job with that. They have got the people in the door. And we thank you guys for your help in that, getting a good contract, and people are paying attention to that. But the reality is with 28 between Avon Park class and that, we'll be good. We will actually be the lowest vacancy rate we've been in probably since pre-COVID, or pre-Stoneman Douglas, I should say.
Is that, so now the salary that we're advertising, does that change based on the schedule?
It would be very minor depending on what the training hours are, if that tracks.
Again, if it's 100 hours, it's gonna be minus 6.5 hours, whatever that equates to.
Over the year, so whatever the average overtime rate, which I'm sorry, I don't have.
So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna throw some, I'm sure this has been written down, and we've all gotten phone calls, but something was brought to my attention. Well, okay, right now, I'm working my 312s and my overtime's there. I don't have to come in on a day off to get my overtime. That's just what we're hearing on our side. Again, we tell them, listen, the sheriff's gonna make the schedule the way he wants to make it. It is what it is. Their main concern is, well, what happens if I don't, like, okay, that month, I'm sick or whatever, and I don't go to training. Now I've just lost 10 hours of overtime that month. I can't make that back up. So that's some of the people who are really like, wait, I know if I work my 312, I'm good to go. But if I don't make training, I'm not getting overtime.
Well,
That's kind of what
yeah,
they're thinking.
a couple points on that, and one is, what if you're sick now? On your
Okay.
long week? What happens that overtime is gone, right? If you're sick on your long week, one day, what happens?
I don't work.
Yeah, I'm
their
sorry, yeah,
schedule,
so if you work 12, you're charging that 7 for your sick time and you're out.
Okay,
You lost 5 hours of overtime.
Okay.
That's just the way it works today, as is. There'll be some modification to that, probably to their benefit in the sense of this. Not every single hour of the 100 proposed is going to be absolutely mandatory to be made up. But contradiction to what the current system is. So if you're sick on your long week, you lost that overtime.
right,
If you're sick and you missed out on a mandatory overtime training,
right.
you got to make that up. And it can't be during your shift because you're working. So you actually benefit in that scenario.
Well, you equal out.
You actually still get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually get, instead of, because you can't make up a sick day now on your long week. That's not how it works.
Right.
But you could under this program, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Appreciate you answering that.
Yep.
All right, so I'm just gonna go over, this is stuff we've all gotten as reps from people on the road. And the people that this shift is gonna affect. The majority of the people do not want to work the 4-on-4 schedule.
Okay.
And like I said, this is coming from concerns with people. It doesn't affect mostly all of us here. One of the main things that's been brought up is that there will not be parity pay anymore with jail. So technically, everything right now is talks about parity pay, and there won't be because people on the road would make less money.
That's one way to look at it.
I'm just saying.
Well, no, we always preach we are all the same.
Yeah.
Parity, we are one, they are us.
Right.
They're not. They don't.
Well, you got different shifts between patrol and detectives, don't you?
Okay?
Right, exactly. That would be one point. The hourly rate, the base pay
We
is the
choose
same.
to go to those special units.
Yeah.
They don't choose to be forced to the schedule where the jail is still on 12 skating at 1:30 or 1:23.
Right.
That's
Shift.
The difference in pay is there without anybody even making a decision.
That's different shifts, and I get it. And if I mean, you can go down the Perry Road. Obviously, I have a heart for the jail. Being in the jail now, like that's my world. Those are my people. There's a lot of benefits they don't get. They are not free to roam around.
Correct.
They don't
With
get
less
paid.
training, with less training, making the same amount, they actually make you more money
You know,
than with more training.
and I promise you that like they would trade a lot of that just to have a take-home car.
But that's not the issue of training them to get to.
And I'm trying to fight my own battle to get them training now. I really am. Like I'm
We're
trying.
fighting to make the same money as a jail person would make.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do
They
today
don't make less,
because we force them to make overtime right now because of manpower issues.
but base contractually, we should make the same. based
You
on
do.
the built-in. Not with the schedule.
But you're also working less too. I think there's
Yeah.
different lenses to look at this through, right? Like even if you just focus on the 26 hours less for 100 hours. What's that?
Not by our choice, but.
Yeah, but you're still not working it. I think it just depends how you look at
But
it.
right now, we currently.
You do.
Well, contractually, you make it the same for each hour you work, if you want to talk about it that way.
But your schedules that you propose, what they work, what we work, will now be two different things. A corrections deputy making more than a road patrol
It's true, the schedules will be different,
deputy. Money will be different,
potentially.
and money-
There's no potential about it.
Potentially.
Math adds. But so other concerns that we have with it were brought to us. In the past, when we've had training weeks, they come up and say halfway through the year, they're like, all right, well, training weeks are over because we don't have the money.
Correct.
So that's a concern of
No, and
lots of people.
we
It's
have,
happened numerous times.
yeah, we spoke to the sheriff, obviously, even when we were doing bargaining session. That's why we were so crystal clear about it. Like, we will, the only thing that's really gonna prove it is overtime. Truly, like, that's what's actually gonna solve it. I mean, we can do all sorts of stuff and promise all sorts of things, but, and I think our relationship throughout the years, the recent years of doing this is shown that trust is built over time. And that the fact is this schedule, working the fours, having the hours shifted the way they are, financially allows us to guarantee that these are the actual like parameters that we can actually bring to the table. Because it's not, we're not doing, 12s built in overtime and then more on top of it. We've budgeted, we are good to go. Like this is in as solid as I could ever make it be.
So on that note, that is for road patrol, or that includes all the specialized units and everything else,
In what sense?
as far as getting the same training?
Yeah, so we're looking at, there will be some nuances to that because there's a vision to have them do some other specialized training that maybe road patrol's not gonna do. Road patrol might focus more on the domestic violence type, responses or something like that. Whereas a narcotics guy is that unit will focus on VITs in a different way than the road patrol guy is gonna focus on. So there will be nuances to it. There will be differences.
So yeah, like SRO, when's SRO gonna get all their training in?
We have been pushing on SRO to get a lot of training.
SRO
Yeah.
comes in right now a week early. They do a lot of their in-service that's required for their SOP now, where they do firearms, tactics. That's been going on for 2 years.
Okay.
So they do a lot of that stuff on the front side, and then obviously we do annual calls and all that stuff.
And the holidays as well. So when the school is out for a holiday that we don't have, SRO goes out and trains. They were just doing DT the other day on a holiday that was a school holiday, not a sheriff's office holiday. So we're still getting those in. We still want them to get more training.
Another big thing that people are bringing up is, this would be more for the newer guys, within first 5 years of being employed, you only get 80 hours, 2 weeks vacation. So that would, they're wanting to know how that's gonna be addressed, I guess.
I'm not sure I understand. the
Yeah,
question.
I think it depends on how you take your vacation in that sense. And your point being is I guess, the amount of days versus hours you can take off. Is that what we're, okay. Yeah, I mean, there'll be some nuances to that. Specifically, your 80 hours versus how you can take those 80 hours off. We faced the same issue when we went to 12s. And in fact, we're still trying to clean up some of that from the last time we
They would
did
try
this.
that.
And trying to make that make sense, because it is, it's obviously, it's something we think about a lot. I would have to look for maybe a specific scenario, maybe that would help kind of understand what the issue would be.
I think Drew already touched on this one, is what happens if they don't attend the training? I mean, obviously they're mandated to the 3.25 because they owe it to you. But what happens if, like, you got some people that just, they don't work overtime, whatever unit they're in, they don't work overtime. But what if they're saying, well, I don't want the overtime?
Well, and I think our position is clear in the sense, and I know to the point is, you want the 10 hours kind of laid out in the shifts, and I get that, because it's part of the shift is the approach. It is in all sense of the word, built in, if that makes sense.
So once it's actually laid out that way, where you guys put the days, where they're gonna be in the time,
That's their
I mean,
shift.
times can be to be determined, but the days, that'll be their shift for the week.
That's what the plan is right now,
Okay.
yes. That's how we want to lay it out, so that it's done throughout the year. You can plan your life accordingly. You can get your vacations in accordingly. This is not to hinder anybody in the sheriff's office, it's to make sure that we get the training that we need.
You got any more, Kenny? 'Cause my phone's, I got a couple here that.
And I already touched on a little bit of that. One of the other questions was about all the specialized units, but I think we've kind of touched on that. Yeah, I think the main concerns were the majority of the people that have come to us didn't like the idea of the 4 on 4 off. They, the parity pay issue and the concerns of saying, we don't have the money to do the training, but you gotta understand it's budgeted, it's there, it's good to go.
It's there, because in a sense, if you're looking at it like that, that's built in, and we're even fully disclosed in here, you're 6 hours short or whatever it is annually. If you look at just budget, we have the budget to do that. It's there, it exists.
Okay. That's all I have written down.
Yeah, so I got a couple of texts here. Some of the people are talking about the hours. They get off at 7:45 and they have childcare. How are we supposed to handle that? Again, this is what they're telling us. You work in law enforcement, this is what, but in full transparency, this is what they're texting. And then someone else asked, well, it's training only the road? You got people that work overtime on the road. So I guess when they must have been listening about, we're doing specific training for road patrol, they're gonna train as a shift. But now you got somebody who's in a different unit that comes to work, are they gonna have the same training? Again,
Yeah, so I think that's a good question in that sense. Is you look at it and you go, all right, what are the topics that everybody needs, right?
Right.
And to be flat out, under this plan, they're not going to train together in that sense. Not all the time. There might be some overlap. We're still getting the training schedule ironed out, right? It's October. We're looking at a January implementation. Some of that stuff is still in process of being developed, of what topics, what days, that sort of thing. The reality is, though, is that there will be topics that everybody has to hit, and there will be topics that special units hit that road doesn't. And road may have, some hours to spend extra on a certain topic that's more road patrol oriented, or may help a certain shift out, whatever that case may be.
Right.
There will be some differences, but there will be a lot of similarities, right? It's going to be very uniform when we're doing firearms and how to respond. That's a drill, just so you guys know. Yeah, that's the 140 drill. We're expecting that. Don't
All
everybody
right.
get crazy, please.
Alan.
Yeah. So I hope that answered it, Drew. If it
Yeah, I
doesn't,
don't, they didn't
please,
respond back. I mean, I think this is good for some of the people that have been asking these questions, right? They come to us and we're like, listen, we don't know, like, and there's gonna be bumps in the road. You know,
One of the main concerns was they were asking was like, why? I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of it's kind of been explained here as to why.
Yeah, a lot of like, why
Yeah,
is
so-
changing?
So years ago, we did like a pilot program in jail. I don't know if you remember that. With the,
You'd have to remind me exactly
yeah,
what it
this
was.
would
I'm
have
sorry.
been two contracts ago. Do you remember that?
At least.
Which one?
We did a pilot program.
The hours.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we
jail.
can do it.
They
The
changed
sheriff,
the hours.
the sheriff had a stroke on someone. That's when they had to talk about where they changed like the hour thing or whatever, and there was the gap in between deputies, and we had to.
No, this is the jail.
Jail.
Well, we
Yeah,
just,
jail.
it also happened on the road too.
We changed schedule, but so we didn't dive head first in like this
Let's talk about
remote
sheriff.
following.
Okay.
So it was a pilot program. I don't have the older versions of the contract on here today, but I think it lasted for, I don't know, maybe 3 months or something. I don't know. Do you remember it all? You were around. Yeah.
The jail one?
So there was no appetite to just try it out, like kind of dip your toes in before you dive in first, just to see if this will actually work from a staffing perspective, because I just don't know truthfully. I mean, you
No, yeah.
St. Lucie County, they changed the schedules for how long did that last? They went to what, how many 8-hour shifts? And they're already back to what they were at, and it just didn't work out. So I'm just bringing that up for your benefit because, you know, it's your decision to do this, so I don't want it to be, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, well, it'd be March or April or something.
Sure.
It's not working out and you go back. So I don't know if it's even possible to try it out with just certain volunteers, if people want to volunteer to try and do this type of shift, if that's
Yeah.
even possible.
I think that is, I get your point and I get the idea of it. I think that would be incredibly difficult to do on a shift like that. Now, I will credit where credit's due. It's like we're looking at, now this is, obviously a very large group of the sheriff's office, but it's not the totality. We're not changing every schedule in the sheriff's office, right? The jail is right now remaining the same. And in essence, we're trying it out here first to see if this makes sense.
Well, this would be the only place it would work, right? Because it's the shift, they're working shifts, the road patrol. I don't know where else it'd be apples to apples, which you make, right? If
Yeah.
Special agents would be doing.
No, to be specific here, the other.
But there's a lot of
department, yeah.
pushback from the jail folks when that was kind of brewing, and then when it was finally implemented as a pilot program, and I think now they're very happy.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I had heard after.
It may have been the last time we changed the schedule, we were going 5/8 and we went to 3/3. I think it was a short period of time where everybody's like, let's see if people like it, and they never changed off of it. I think they liked it. And the jail specifically, they were initially looking at doing that, but because the jail's the jail, they do different things. Like right now, the midnights are 4/12s, 4 on, 4 off.
Yeah, they do like the
Totally
4,
different
there's a
thing.
4 and a 3.
And they do,
2 off.
I'm sorry.
Every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, they do, which is every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday on days. So days does that. And jail being unique in the sense of when we're doing chow, stuff like that. So there's some nuances that I'm a new guy in the jail. I fully admit that. So I wouldn't look to change something I don't fully understand.
I think to answer your question, there's not an appetite to do a pilot program just because the logistics are too complicated. That said, the contract gives us the right to where if it doesn't work, we can fix it.
So just to clarify what I said earlier, was when Sheriff Snyder was a sheriff, we did this for a little bit. And how long did it last? Not very long, because when it came to the part where they were running the shorter manpower, some calls came up and there was concern as to why nobody was close, why nobody could take the call. And it was because this was like this, and then it went right back to 12. So
Yeah,
That
so
was the early policy.
I think what we're talking about in this sense is maybe some of the shorter times in the morning. And agree that there's only so many ways you can kind of split that before it doesn't make sense or does make sense. I would say one of the benefits
it
of
was under the guy that just left.
moving this to this schedule is the fact that as you bring their squads on staggered, you will actually have people already out. So right now, 1,800, the entirety of road patrol is either gone or in the main office, right? And we have a gap currently. That's a problem for us. This now at 1,800 is not a problem for us. So our busiest time where we think we need somebody in zone 15, we have potential to actually have bodies out there already and still do a briefing with the guys coming in, if that makes sense.
Okay, so another question that was brought up looking at the schedule was with Indian Town. So there'll be a portion of Indian Town where you'll, and correct me if I'm looking at it wrong, there'll be one deputy, one sergeant for a short while.
Let me see.
An hour and a half.
Hour and a half, right?
I think it is, to your point, I think what you're looking at is there's only 2 deputies in Indian Town for a short time without a sergeant is the actual
Now, you
breakdown.
got a sergeant and a deputy. If I'm looking
Where-
at the thing, you got a
Which,
sergeant.
which hours?
Deputy day 2.
Yeah, you got a sergeant from 6:30 to 8 and a deputy from 6:30 to 8.
No, but there's one.
That's in the morning, right?
There's a deputy on day 2 that overlaps with the other deputy.
Yeah, there's an overlap in that if you're
Yeah.
looking at the whole thing.
The morning time, there's,
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
morning.
more,
Yeah.
not the afternoon.
Okay. I got
You'd
it.
have 2 deputies and no sergeant, not a sergeant and a deputy, if that makes sense,
Okay, so you have 2, all right, so you have 2 deputies with no sergeant for an hour and a half.
for an hour and a half.
So you have 2 people in the Indian Town.
Yeah, is that, Drew, is it, maybe we got an old sheet over there for you?
I don't, this looks like sergeant, deputy, right? Oh, but that represents 2 deputies.
Yes. Right, exactly.
Ah, okay, I didn't see
So it'll
that.
be
No,
from
that's-
5 AM to
makes sense.
6:30 AM, we'll have just 2 deputies in Indian Town.
For that time, yes. Yeah, we are not shying away from the fact, I know we are lighter in that time of the least amount of calls. We are lighter in that time. We are better spread out, heavier in the times that we have more calls. There's a better transition in the afternoon
So what's gonna be the minimum manpower?
to an Indian town.
Indian
Okay,
Town
and then
specifically,
we'll
it's
go two deputies and sergeant, except for that hour and a half period.
Hour and a half
And
period.
then on the coast, what's the min-man's gonna be?
Whatever that is in the morning as well.
11.
11.
It's on paper for your minimums.
Yeah, so for that hour and a half, to your point, it's 11, and then we go back to 12. So if people are looking at, okay, what's,
But from 8 AM to 5:15,
yeah, from 5,
you're supposed to have, it says 19, so will we have 19, or what would be the, what would be
19 is
the,
full.
what will be the minimum you have there from those
12.
hours?
12.
12.
it'll be 12 on the other hours that are not that, from 5 to 8. If that makes sense, if I did my math right.
So,
Sorry.
so from 5 AM
5
to
to 8, you got-
6:30 AM, you're gonna have 11 deputies.
from 5 to 8,
5 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay,
11.
You have 11, and then
and
from
then we're gonna have one more from 8 to 7:15.
the rest of the time,
For
the minimums
Stays
will go to
12.
12. Yeah, you'll probably have more than that, especially as we get these folks out of the academy. I mean, if you looked at it, and I know you guys have done this math, is your day shift has 19 slots. Your night shift has 20 slots. That is our full complement. Corporals included. That's our full complement for all those shifts. So those are the actual slots. Now, as we get 28 out of the pipeline, we get them through training, we are going to be very healthy, like extraordinarily healthy, the type we haven't seen in several years.
And we're also looking at having the new 4,000 homes out in Palm City, the other 3,800 in
Yep.
Indian Town. So I mean, that's gonna be,
The Indian Town ones are strong consideration. I think we covered that a little bit is we're investing a lot in Indian Town. We just split that and made an Indian Town lieutenant again. See the value in that, tracking with that situation very closely. It's obviously Lieutenant McCarthy's a very, very strong lieutenant. He's good, very much somebody that I think can handle that situation out there in the sense of plan accordingly for the future of Indiantown. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far, so the corporals know that are watching, whoever's watching, the corporals now that work these early shifts and late shifts, they're going back to this schedule. They're gonna go to this schedule. They're not gonna have separate schedules anymore.
Correct.
So they'll be back on the shift.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Before you go to the next topic, let's take just a 5-minute break. Sweet tea called up.
Absolutely not.
I would take a quick break, I'm muting it.
Thank you.
All right. Woo. Yeah. Oh. Oh, gosh.
That's a conspiracy.
Someone has to play that much.
Really, I may have to borrow it.
Increase your fund.
Go buy it.
Got a 90.
I got something.
How did you know that that's what was coming out?
I don't know.
Cracks in your fund.
Oh, wow, that does make a lot of sense.
You get some cheaters?
No?
They
I
like
did. And now I'm sharing them.
Not here.
It's like, hey,
I keep having a couple photos.
This is where we're at now, we're sharing cheaters.
We're sharing cheaters. Let's talk about
It's been a long time, boys.
You wanna know what guys are in there?
Oh, hey, I'm already like, is that Willie over there?
You wanna know what the
Is
word?
that Willie?
I had
It's
to
me, brother.
go to Walgreens to borrow their cheaters and fix my cheaters.
That's tough times.
That's how bad it's getting.
I went and got LASIK.
I did too.
No laser my eye. Hell no.
It's very.
The laser's the easiest part. The worst part is when they cut the flap as you're awake and.
Okay.
Let's not
Yeah.
do
So let's go on some other questions here real quick.
Yeah, we have more questions.
I gotta take mine off. Yeah, we're live.
No.
There was a question, and again, we're just the messages here, so please don't, this is people from the road and everybody that's watching asking questions. So they have a question about how many people are gonna be allowed off on a shift if there are 19 deputies. Because right now, I guess there's only allowed 2 off.
2 off.
If you have,
Barring some circumstances, we've allowed more people to be off, you know, if it's very important to be off, you know, we try to accommodate as we can.
Right.
Right now, it's gonna remain the same because we have positions today, we don't have the bodies. If we have more bodies, then yeah, we can have that conversation.
okay,
And even just to kind of clarify one more thing, just in case it
Yes,
does
sir.
come up. On the short periods where you only have a certain amount of people, it's still the same amount of people limited as far as being off. We would just have to obviously hire overtime and make sure that those minimums are met during that short period. You get what I'm saying? But it does not gonna affect.
So minimum short period is 11,
Right.
minimum on the fat period is 12.
Right.
12,
Right, and obviously, if we're at full capacity, speaking operationally, we'll be allowed to have more people off, so.
and then we kind of asked this, but I got another question, and I feel it's kind of my duty to say it, but what is the people that work in admin schedule, what is gonna be their training schedule like?
That is a good conversation, I would say, for a different meeting.
Okay.
We're trying to stay within the 4 corners of road patrol because
Okay,
you could lose it in the complexity of SRO versus courthouse versus CID, SID, COP. I mean,
okay,
there's just marine aviation, you name it. There's tons of different schedules and different factors.
good, that's all I had. Can you get anything else? I still read it.
One of the texts I got was, to the question of the training day, and they're on vacation that week, where's the makeup for that day?
We'll have to schedule that. Yeah, that's not something I have mapped out currently today.
But
But-
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, it will be mapped out.
It will be mapped out, yeah.
Because we know this is scheduled out for road patrol, and we wanna have the equivalent for our specialized units, we don't wanna leave them behind. They're gonna have the same amount of days to have their training, just probably on the opposite month or opposite week, or however that lands compared to, we know they're sweating.
Yeah, as we can fit them, basically.
As we can fit them, but they will have that ability, so my thought would be, somebody misses one, can make it up with the specialized unit when they go do their day, and it'll still be obviously, depending on how it fits, their overtime.
So you guys probably did a lot of research into doing this. Have you done other schedules besides this one? And, I mean, there's tons of them, we know that.
The reason they're looking at me, because I don't know if you guys remember,
Yeah.
the reason this schedule changed, and when we were doing 5/8, 5 on, 2 on, 5 on, 3 off, is because as soon as I went over, we started working on that. This was a schedule we looked at even back then. This is what, maybe 10+ years now we have. And, you know, some of the considerations we took into account is being able to provide more training for our deputies. Yes, having them have even more time off when we possibly can. not, if we're gonna have to work more days, not as many hours, because obviously working 12-hour shifts can take a toll on people. And we, looked at how it affects them and their stress levels, their health, the camaraderie for the shifts. Those are things that we've looked at over 10 years ago and still to this day.
Is any other agency work this one?
Yeah. The Jupiter Police Department worked it. I don't know if they still currently work it, but they worked a semblance of the 11 and a quarter.
So Jupiter's and all Jupiter's. Doesn't really count for that.
Well, I guess from here, unless you guys have any other questions, what we'll do is we will get you that schedule with the training day incorporated on it so that you can see what it'll look like. And unless we hear otherwise from you, we're going to assume that you're not asking for any additional impact bargaining on it.
I think we are. I think we're gonna wanna come back after we see that. So I'll just say that right now. That's the goal. We wanna do an official poll of the members, just so you guys can have an idea of where we're at. Cause it's one thing to say all we're hearing is this, all we're hearing is that, but we'd like to just put it out to the membership and just see where they are as a body.
When you guys do that, could we get a copy of it?
Sure, I don't have a problem.
That would be great.
Yep. I'll get you a copy of that and then.
It'll be a blind survey monkey.
Clearly, yeah, I'm not looking for names.
Well, they might.
No, I'm looking for numbers, I'm a numbers guy.
It'll be a blind survey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
'cause
please. I don't need that.
I think what we're hearing and what I got for what I'm hearing today is that it's just, seems like not any support.
Honestly, I've had several people talk about that they would most likely look at other agencies. So, I'm just throwing everything out there that's been brought to us. We always talk about being open and transparent with everybody. There's several people that have contacted me about saying, hey, this is really gonna affect certain things and that they would most likely start looking for employment elsewhere. So,
I know childcare has been a big thing.
yeah. So
Again,
and time sharing, and I understand the
Time
costs,
sharing, right.
but when we've been on the schedule for so long and, people get divorced and do this and do that, they get certain things set up and then it's like, hey, we're just gonna flip this completely upside down for you. So that's what some people are feeling.
Nope. My only thought on that, and to be perfectly blunt, is that with that in mind, because we know that's an issue, it's going to be an issue no matter what. Always is, always will be. That's why we noticed you guys so early. Give everybody as much chance to look at it, see what do's and don'ts, whatever it may be. It's like if you look at it like this, it's like the contract required 60 days. I think we gave you 120. Something like that. We were 4 months ahead of where the contract told us we had, the 2 months ahead of where the contract required us to be. We're not trying to live like that. We're trying to live in a world where we're having a good relationship. So I don't want people to think that it's without thought. In fact, it's with a lot of thought that we started early.
So being about the most senior person at this agency, this is I don't know how many schedule changes we've had. 4, right? So right before I came here, under Sheriff Hall, they were working 10-hour shifts.
Yeah.
I missed that. They went to 12-hour shifts. Then Sheriff Crowder was elected and we went to the 5-2-5-3 for 19 years, I think. 19 years. And then Sheriff Snyder took over, and I don't know how long into Sheriff Snyder's term.
A year or so.
We went to 12-hour shifts. And then now we're gonna change it again. And cops hate change, and you guys hate change also. Ruben, I'm sure when you were on the road, you hated change the same way. You worked the 5-2, didn't you?
5-2-5.
yeah.
So I just want to get an idea of what the members want and try to express that to you also.
Thank you.
We'll get you that schedule, and when you want to meet again, just let us know, ask for a date, and we'll get something set up.
Yeah, we'll definitely let you know. There's certain things in the contract, that we want to be open and listen to what you have to say about changing the work schedule. I know section of, it's whatever article this is, it talks about the work schedule, but it doesn't talk about shifts. There's a different section that talks about shifts. And that's expressly laid out in the agreement. So, we're trying to work with you on this, so, I don't know if this is something that you can necessarily just force feed to us as far as like changing the actual work hours, of the shifts, but that might be for a future discussion. I want to do the poll first and just see where we're at. So,
Well, we'll consider what you have to say, let us know, but our interpretation of the contract, section 6, the basic work week article, gives the sheriff the right to make the changes.
right, to the work schedule of 3 on 3 on.
Well, we consider it to be the schedule is the schedule.
I mean, there's a completely different section on what the actual shifts are. So when you're talking about hours, 12-hour shifts, 4 regular scheduled 12-hour shifts. So that's kind of where we're at this point, but we'll meet again for sure. We're gonna do the poll, we'll come back. Can you get us like what it is you're gonna propose? So we can take a look at it.
As far as the day on.
Yeah, whatever it was you were talking about like the 5th day or something.
Yeah, we're talking about
Add
putting,
on to this.
putting the training day on there so you guys can understand it, map it out.
Yeah, I think the more we're able to give to the members, just so they have full disclosure of what it is, perhaps that is being proposed.
Both days and hours.
Yeah.
So, 100, 200, 300, 400. So the days and hours of how they'll slot it, please.
One other thing was, because the schedule is laid out, so you have 2 day shifts, correct, right?
Right.
Is there any way seniority can pick on which day shift they work? Because they'll be able to see it for the year? That was just a question that might help them with their,
It won't be in the bid. As of right now, you can only bid days, nights. I
Okay.
would say, it'll be the bland answer. It'll be based on operational necessity, and obviously we'll take in, seniority into account.
okay. Thank you.
Any more questions
Go one.
in the gallery?
Last time, how
This
was
is
it?
this is my thought though, is that if we stayed at the 3-3 and you didn't pay us the overtime when we did that, we did the same, but on the 4th day, making it a training day. What's the difference?
We have to pay you the overtime. We can't have you work for free.
No. So what I'm saying is that right now there's built-in overtime on the 3-3. If you don't do the built-in overtime on the 3-3 and hold it over to the training day on the 4th day, instead of making everybody go 4 4s and then keeping, and the only reason why I'm asking, it shortens it, I understand that. But again, when we're talking about people who are already embedded in this with their families, they're already embedded in this with their children, they're already embedded in this with, the courts and so on and so forth. When I went to the 5253, I literally had to go back to the court and discuss this with my ex-wife because that's how she was. So I understand you're saying we're on the clock for 60 days, 120, whatever the case may be. Nobody's getting in front of a judge in 60 days if there's somebody who's gonna have that problem. So if we left it at the 3-3 and then scheduled that overtime day on that and made it an 8-hour day instead of a 10-hour day. Because that, I'm doing simple Irish math in my head, which is probably wrong, but we're instead of changing the schedule out, you're just adding, you're still adding the same day.
I think we have to see it. Scheduling in general, we were just joking about, is so complex that you have to be right.
Oh, I
We
understand.
can't guess. Like, it's got to be, these are the hours, this is what it is. Even now, even after a lot of thought, it's still, where is this day going to be at? We'd have to see it on paper to track that whole train of thought. And if that's something that you have in mind, then God bless you. It's tough.
All right, all good.
Hope everyone has a good rest of the day.
Yes, sir.
Good weekend.
Yeah, you too.